6 Feet Under was released between 2001 and 2005 and lasted for 5 seasons on HBO and was created by Alan Ball and stars Peter Krause, Michael C. Hall, and Lauren Ambrose, and follows the story of the Fisher family who live in LA and own a funeral home. However, when their father tragically passes away, the family is brought together and becomes closer than ever as they try to deal with the tragedy while also dealing with their own interesting and unique lives and their interpersonal relationships with others. Guys, I am so excited to finally talk about this series. This is a show that I didn't actually know a whole lot about until about a year ago, and I'm so glad that I finally got to check out this show that is a landmark in television and often considered to be one of the greatest shows of all time. And it comes from Alan Ball, the writer of one of my personal favorite movies of all time, American Beauty. I absolutely adore that film, and I hoped when watching this show that it could at least capture some of the magic that was in that movie, and it does exactly that. I felt right at home from the first episode in this show, reminding me so much of why I loved American Beauty, how it is able to deal with the relationships between families, dealing with family households, as well as how it is able to deal with some heavy subject matter while also adding a bit of dark comedy to it. And it really blends together so well into a show that is, at its core, about death. I mean, this is the story about a funeral home business. However, in being about death, it's also a celebration of life. I could talk about this show all day, but let's talk about the stuff I truly admire. And my favorite stuff has to be the characters. Alan Ball and his team of writers have crafted some of the most lovable characters I've ever come across in a TV show, in a movie, or what have you. These characters feel so well realized. They feel like real people. They have their own quirks, their own problems, their own issues that they are constantly dealing with, and they feel so relatable because of that. And they're just absolutely great characters, and they're performed expertly as well. Peter Krause is amazing as Nate. Michael C. Hall is fantastic as David Fisher, and Lauren Ambrose as Claire is stunning and wonderful, and I just love these characters so much. But I love how we are able to really delve into them, look at it through a psychological lens, and see what makes these characters tick. What are their problems? What are their issues? What are they going through? And you really come to know these characters by the end, and when it's time to say goodbye to them, it really hurts. It really stings. And this show really, really would not be the same if it did not have the level of care that was taken in the acting department and the character department. But also, I love the issues that it deals with. It deals with depression, it deals with death, it deals with closeted homosexuality, such as with the David Fisher character, played expertly by Michael C. Hall. This is a wonderful performance by Michael C. Hall. He is fantastic and so relatable and likable, and he is dealing with so much, dealing with his own closeted homosexuality and how that affects him, how that could affect his family, his future, and he's constantly struggling with it, especially when it comes to his faith as well, which is not very kind to this sort of thing. And it's just wonderfully explored throughout the entire show. I also love how Alan Ball really took some inspiration from his own life. He didn't base any of the characters particularly on him, but they were inspired by aspects of him, such as Nate Fisher is kind of the boy that never grew up. And that leads to some problems along the way. Nate just can't grow up and can't grow as a person. Then we have Michael C. Hall's character, David, who is gay. Alan Ball was also gay and struggled with that a lot of his early life. And then we have Claire, who is the youngest of the three children, who is just kind of tired of everybody's crap, wondering who the heck are all these people. And I think that really makes these characters a lot more deeper than some of the other characters that I've seen in other shows. They just feel so real and authentic. I also love the structure of the show and how the beginning of each episode literally begins with somebody dying, followed by a title card that shows their full name and their birth date and their death date. And oftentimes these people end up at the Fishers for a funeral, and it's all really fun. And this show, as grim as it can be sometimes, and it gets really, really sad at times, it is so freaking funny. I laughed so much during this show. The comedy is just pure gold pretty much all the time, and it really works well and sets off from the darker aspects of the show and really gives you a breather that I think you definitely need with a show that can be this heavy at times, but it's not always heavy. I also think that the show has one of the greatest pilots ever conceived for a TV show, as well as one of the greatest finales ever put to screen. I love both of these episodes so much, and I think they really did a great job of concluding everybody's arc, everybody getting some sort of satisfaction in the end. And it reminded me a lot of Lost in that way. I know that's a controversial opinion. Some people hate the ending of Lost, but to me, Lost's ending was so satisfying and gratifying for the characters, for the journey, and I felt that same way here. It was heartbreaking saying goodbye to this world and these characters, and just the way that the finale works and those last couple of minutes, which are really something spectacular. It makes you think about life in a whole different way, and it really shows that we need to cherish our lives because we don't know if we're going to wake up the next day or not. And that's scary, but it's comforting knowing that we have today to make the best life that we possibly can. Guys, I absolutely adore this show so much. I could talk about it all day, but this video would be very long. But in terms of negatives with the show, I would say that my biggest negative is actually season 4, which seems to be the problem with some people online and everything. A lot of critics really criticizing season 4, and I love season 4, but I do think that the drama gets a little bit too back and forth, and also that it just takes a while to get going, and also the comedy just doesn't work as well. There's some really goofy moments that just don't work very well. I mean, the show can be really funny, and it can be goofy at times, but I think they really jumped the shark in season 4. So, in terms of me ranking each season, I would say that season 4 is at the bottom. It's my least favorite, but I still love it. Followed by season 2, which I think is a great sophomore season, but I think that it carries a little bit too much over from season 1, and some of the plot lines get a little bit more stale. After that, I think I would say season 5, the final season, which has a great first half and a perfect second half, and I think it concludes the show so perfectly. Then I would say season 1, it's just very classic. It's heartwarming. It has my favorite ending of any of the seasons. And then finally, I would say season 3 is my absolute favorite. I think it gets the drama right, it gets the characters right, and it has some of the most heart-wrenching moments of this show. But yeah, I love this show, guys. I definitely recommend that if you have not seen this show, please check it out. It is on HBO Max right now, available to watch, and it is worth every second of your time. So anyway, guys, with all that said, I'm going to give 6 Feet Under a 10 out of 10. Well, guys, I want to thank you for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And stay positive.